So I've been with TFSS, so now SORA, for 28 years. So a lot of changes over that time. When I originally started out, it was myself and 3 part-time staff. I think we had a budget of $169,000. It was one fund program. So we now have 104 staff and have a footprint right across the New England Northwest, which is an area the size of Tasmania. So.
Big time of change ahead, right? TFSS being rebranded as SORA Community Services. Yes. What inspired the change and why? What's the story behind the name?
So I guess one of the biggest things that inspired the change was the fact that we have, really grown up as an organisation. We have certainly outgrown our previous name, so it is literally just the name change. All our services remain the same. The board still remains the same. The amazing quality of services that we deliver remain the same. So yeah, I guess it was our footprint is far greater than Tamworth. Yes. And our programs were much greater than just family support programs. So yeah, the thing that really captured it for us was, SORA meaning Big Sky Country. So it's, our region is sort of known as the Big Sky Country. So we are officially known as SORA Community Services now. So everything has changed across. And a lot of people know us, I guess, as the Green Machine. So it's around how do we actually keep that moving forward with our new uniform design, but also then having a fresh new look. So it'll be interesting to watch this space as well.
So I don't know if you've noticed, I tried to match with the colour.
I love the green.
It's not the same green, but I tried.
It's really interesting because I happened to be sitting in a coffee shop on Monday morning, and I noticed a policeman came in and had his full kit on, and then I just happened to look up as he sort of came in, and he looked at me and just acknowledged, and I went, I have no idea who you are, but they recognised the shirt.
And I think it's also a sign that people recognise that as where they can go for getting help,
yes,
getting support. And that's so important because often, and you will know this, Belinda, that concept of linker network that started many years ago, and the main thing for it was vulnerable people sometimes struggle to find our services.
Yes.
And if we are visible, if there is a consistent branding or a existent branding which people resonate with, like the Heart Foundation tick of approval, then they know they can go in there at their most vulnerable moments of their life. So. When we talk about values, as you were mentioning before, what are some of your values that drives the diverse range of services? I know you provide children and family support through till housing support, through youth initiatives, family and domestic violence programs. What are the organisation values that drive this diverse range of services and programs?
So I guess our values, I'll just start with, so they're community, leadership, integrity, partnership and diversity. So the probably some of the diversity of the programs is very much around community and partnership. So we often, and I remember saying years ago to the managers is that we will not deliver any program by ourselves. So we need to be working in partnership with other organisations. So let's look at who else we can to bring on board to assist us. And again, we're not a silo, so I think that we need that input.
The way our sector has, developed over the years, the very nature of funding and everything has brought in that sense of competition.
Absolutely.
But I think if we genuinely, intentionally collaborate, then we can complement each other's service.
Yes.
And rather than working in silo. And that's where I think the strength, our collective strength of the sector will be better in meeting the needs of people at the right time.
That it is about having the courage to have difficult conversations. That there has been times in the past where there is a tender that comes out and you know, it might be in the middle of both of us, but it's actually been able to have the courage to say, look, you know, we're actually going to apply for that, and they may say exactly the same thing, and it's like, you know, may the best man win, really, and we will support you at the end of the day.
That's fantastic, because that's exactly what, and I'm very fortunate that in Western Sydney we're trying to develop that as well. There was recently a round of funding, and grassroots organisations, and I must say, because of the context, because of the relationships that we've built now,
Yes.
we ring each other and we say, hey, I'm applying, I think you should apply.
Yeah.
And as you said, let the best application win. But no matter what, we know that the outcome is for the betterment of the community.
Yes.
And that has brought about a completely different relationship in the sector, and more, and these are small grassroots organizations where previously I used to kind of hush, let's not share about what's happening. We're coming together in Western Sydney, and as a part of the Linker network, I'm really kind of encouraging people to do that, and people are embracing. Organizations, the newer leaders are embracing that, and you've always, as I said, led the way, so good to hear that from you, Belinda.
I think it's absolutely the way to go. Welcome to our Blythe Street office. So we've been here for 3 years.
Plenty of space, and you've got about 30 people working from this office.
There can be 36 in this space.
Kim, Belinda just introduced us and said you've been here longer than she has. How long have you been with TFSS?
Oh gosh, 1989.
Wow. Was it in this office or was it somewhere else?
So it was a little house that was up next to railroad tracks.
And what's your role now within the organisation?
So I currently am the coordinator of our HIPPY program, which is the Home Interaction Program for Parents and Youngsters. So I essentially get paid to play.
That's a lovely way of saying it.
Yeah.
Are there any challenges that you are currently facing that's specific to the local area?
I guess our challenge is, and they're happening everywhere, that people are coming to us with higher needs, I guess. And I don't know if it's because it's something people are willing to talk about now, or if it's a sign of the times where it's difficult for anyone at the moment, whether it's finance or home issues. You know, it is quite difficult. But I guess within service too is when we look at things like change, that can be quite difficult for people. But I think if we all stay positive through those changes, whatever they may be, we come out on top in the end.
Very well said. Thank you.
Not a
Lovely to
problem.
meet
Nice to
you.
meet you.
Unfortunately, that the stories that a lot of the workers are hearing and the families we're working with on a daily basis, they're far more complex than they were 10 years ago. So it's having the staff trained to be able to deal with that. It's very much having them trained in how then they cope with dealing with that. With
The secondary trauma.
the trauma long term, because the last thing we want is a burnt out industry or a burnt out workforce.
It had, for Lead, having been able to provide TFSS with that organisation-wide, as you said, equipping every team member of yours with the trauma to healing training in partnership with ACF, and also provide, I think we've had across the board, we had sessions on back areas trauma.
Yes.
But that in itself has been an experience, because in our sector we often say we are resource poor, time poor. But despite that, as you said, we don't want the sector's workforce to land up into a crisis point where we are burnt out. And for us to prevent from doing that, we need to be able to support the sector.
Absolutely. And I think, I think it's something that and again, workers will often sort of come and, we don't have a never-ending budget. Or even a training budget for the stream, so they're sort of planned out, and that was something that we looked at a number of years ago to go, to send workers to conferences. And again, don't get me wrong, some of them are, they're fantastic, but again, there's only so much that you can retain in a 3-day conference, and if there's only sort of one worker from this person going to do it, and then there's sort of one here, so a lot of our training that we looked at had been very ad hoc, probably. And again, that was just the way that the organisation grows over the year and, or over the years. And or workers that would come with different skill levels and different interest in certain things. So, but it was also, a very expensive way of doing things.
Absolutely.
And I don't believe probably that the outcomes that we had were as great as when we've actually now gone, no, let's actually look at a planned training thing organisationally wide, which I think, as I said before, it just gives everybody that base level. So
that brings in consistency in practices
Yes.
across the organisation, as you highlighted, using the same language, using the same practices, supporting each other, peer support, reflective conversations. Hey, I tried that. This is what I'm facing with the client. But then again, reflecting together, this is what we learned. The other key thing, Belinda, and you touched on it, is from every learning experience, research says there's only 10% that people retain. So if you just intend that we're going to do one-off training and one person from the team does it, how is that going to be a collective experience, collective knowledge gathering? So yes, it's ongoing, and I often say that training is one-off, but professional development is ongoing.
Yes.
And that's exactly what you have through your leadership really built on in TFSS. And from my end, representing LEAD, I feel really great to have partnered with you because this is what we need to showcase to the sector. We need to prioritize workforce professional development and well-being.
And I think, as I said before, it's it's about having the courage to change what we've always done. And that, may be that, there's like, oh, there's a great conference, or we've always been to this conference. And, to me, that's their luxuries, or as an icing on top.
Yeah.
I think it's around having, as you said, it's around having a planned training approach, but then also being able to have, when you have the whole workforce done, they're also able to keep each other accountable. So I think that's, so thank you very, very much. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much for your time. Greatly appreciated.
Pleasure.
And all the very best. As you said, it would be a great place to be at when no longer our services are needed. And let's keep working towards it.